At 0517 local time, the USS Gravely's forward gun mount shutters awake. Steel hums. Deck plates vibrate under boots. The word ripples through the ship. Condition 3. Set and man all key stations. No one asks why. Something is closing fast. On the radar display inside the Combat Information Center, 3 green contacts bloom on the western edge. They're coming in tight formation, accelerating. The CIC watch officer reads it out. 3 surface contacts bearing 243 range 19 nautical miles, speed 28 knots and rising. The captain doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't have to. Log everything. Hail once. Then go active. A petty officer keys the transmitter. Unidentified vessels. This is United States warship operating in international. You are closing at high speed. Identify yourself immediately. Static. Then silence. The SPY-1D radar tracks each target with millimeter precision. Call signs flicker across the tactical screen. Sierra 1, Sierra 2, Sierra 3. Electronic warfare sensors confirm intermittent emissions. Old Soviet band search radar. Low power, outdated but unmistakable. The flag profiles flicker next. Red, yellow, blue, Venezuela. On the bridge, the helmsman holds steady. The destroyer's course is plotted just 3 nautical miles inside the international boundary. A deliberate choice. Any deviation east or west could hand Caracas a political win. The air is thick with tension, and not just from humidity. The men on watch remember the briefing 2 days ago. State media had called U.S. patrols aggressions. 4 days before, U.S. Navy helicopters intercepted 2 cartel boats carrying narcotics and small arms. One was destroyed after ignoring hails. Caracas vowed a response. Now that response is visible on radar. 3 fast patrol boats threading toward the Gravely's beam. Bridge CIC range down to 12 nautical miles comes the call. Copy. Maintain posture. Weapons tight, the captain answers. Below deck, sailors slam lockers and grab helmets. In the forward magazine loaders slide 5-inch rounds onto the shell hoists. The CIWS gunners run system checks. Hydraulic pumps, whirring barrels gleaming under red battle lights. On deck, lookouts strain their eyes toward a horizon still wrapped in pre-dawn mist. They don't see ships yet, just motion. A shimmer of white wakes cutting toward them. Inside CIC, the air hums with electronics. Every beep and data scroll is another heartbeat. The destroyer's Aegis combat system fuses radar, sonar, and ELINT data into one image. The Venezuelan contacts are now within 10 nautical miles. Recommend we designate hostile intent, says the operations officer. Negative, the captain replies. Not yet. We show presence, not panic. He turns to the communications watch. Open channel 2 again, Spanish this time. Buques venezolanos aquí, buque de guerra de los Estados Unidos operando en aguas internacionales. Alteren su rumbo inmediatamente. Again, silence. The Venezuelans aren't just ignoring. They're signaling. Contacts, now 8 miles, the radar tech calls. CPA 4.6 nautical miles in 6 minutes. The captain's tone doesn't change. Very well. Bridge maintained course. Engineering full power on turbines. Flight deck prep Romeo for launch. On the flight deck aft, the MH-60R Seahawk crew moves fast but calm. Rotor blades unfold. Chains clatter free. Call sign Razor 21 spins up, engine screaming against the sea air. In the hangar bay, maintenance crews secure the tie-downs as the bird lifts off into the gray dawn. From above, Razor 21 spots the Venezuelan boats immediately, 3 low silhouettes throwing long white trails across flat Caribbean water. They're running light, fast and steady. Their formation tightens. From the Seahawk's infrared camera, you can see figures moving on deck. Razor 21 to Gravely, visual confirmation 3 patrol craft, Venezuelan flag visible. Formation V-shaped, steady at 28 knots. Copy that, 21. Maintain eyes on. No weapons hot. Up on the bridge, binoculars finally catch the movement. Sharp wakes, glint of hulls, sunlight flashing off antennas. The captain studies them for a long second. Then quietly, they're not fishing, they're testing. The order that follows is simple, calm, final. Show presence, hold fire, and keep recording. The morning light breaks over the horizon, and 3 Venezuelan boats race toward an American destroyer armed for war. At 0519 hours, the MH-60R Razor 21 banks hard left rotor blades slicing through the early morning haze. The sea below glows faint gold in the rising Sunday. From 400 feet, up its sensor turret swings toward 3 streaks of foam carving white scars across blue water. The Venezuelan patrol boats are in full throttle exhaust plumes, darting like arrowheads toward the USS Gravely. Range 8 miles. Closing fast, the sensor operator calls. Copy that, replies the destroyer's Combat Information Center. Maintain visual, no provocation. Inside Gravely's CIC, the air hums with controlled urgency. Screens flicker. The SPY-1D array paints the surface picture in real time. Each contact's speed bearing and vector update every few seconds. At the operations console, the tactical action officer marks a red ring around the destroyer, the keep-out zone. If the Venezuelans cross it, everything changes. Contacts now inside 6 nautical miles. Closest point of approach, 4.3 and dropping, says the radar tech. The captain leans over the chart table. Engineering hold turbines at full power. Helmsman steady course, 215. We stay predictable. No sudden moves. That's how restraint works at sea. Deliberate, visible, disciplined. The message is professionalism, not panic. Out on deck, sailors feel it differently. They've trained for firefights, missile alerts, boarding ops, but this is the gray zone where a wrong gesture can start a war. CIWS crews check hydraulic pressure one more time. The 20mm Vulcan barrels glint as the turrets traverse slowly enough for the other side to see. The 5-inch gun shifts a few degrees starboard, its barrel rising with mechanical precision. Nothing aimed, just posture. Bridge to CIC, target bearing steady 243. Range 5 nautical miles. Copy bridge. Maintain posture. Weapons tight. Every system aboard is alive now. SLQ 32 passive receivers humming, digital recorders logging, every Venezuelan transmission, even the faint pulse of their surface search radar. A low ping repeats across the electromagnetic spectrum. Not fire close. The communications officer breaks the quiet. Venezuelan naval vessels. This is United States warship. Gravely operating in international waters. You are closing at high speed. Alter course immediately. The message echoes on open frequency English first, then Spanish. Seconds pass. Then a crackling reply. United States warship, you are operating near Bolivarian security zone. Identify your mission. The captain's response is calm, precise. We are conducting lawful patrol in international waters. Maintain safe separation. For a heartbeat, both sides hold their courses. The ocean between them narrows 4 miles. Dodd 3.8. From above, Razor 21's infrared camera catches the standoff in perfect symmetry, a gray destroyer knifing eastward 3 smaller hulls sliding alongside its starboard beam. Their formation forms a crescent just outside gun range. CIC, their matching speed, reports the Seahawk pilot. 20 knots now, holding parallel. Roger that, Razor 21. Continue observation. Do not engage. Inside Gravely's bridge, no one speaks louder than necessary. The only sounds are the hiss of air vents, the hum of electronics, and the distant churn of propeller wash. Through binoculars, the Venezuelan crews are visible. Life vests, helmets, camera lenses glinting in the Sunday. They're filming. Everyone knows it. Contacts maintaining parallel course at 3.6 miles. The ops officer calls out, possible intimidation maneuver. Let them film, the captain says. We'll give them a good picture. He nods to the deck officer. Topside, set visible posture. I want everything clean and by the book. A chorus of mechanical noises follows. The phalanx turrets rotate to neutral angle. The 5-inch mount locks at 0 elevation flags whip in the wind, bright, undeniable American. From afar, it looks like readiness, not threat. From up close, it looks like steel patience. Then Razor 21 spots movement the lead Venezuelan boat, veering inward cutting distance by half a mile. Lead contact closing. Range 3 nautical miles, CIC reacts instantly. Bridge recommend evasive 10-degree port turn to maintain separation. Negative, says the captain. We don't yield our lane. Helm 1-degree adjustment only. The destroyer shifts subtly. At that speed, even 1 degree slides her path 100 yards wider enough to avoid collision but not concession. For the next 90 seconds, the radio net is pure silence except for breathing. Radar plots update every few heartbeats. The Gravely holds course. The Venezuelans hover just off her starboard quarter, diesel engines throbbing like a growl in the water. Finally, the tension bends. Contacts decreasing speed. 2 to 0 knots, says the radar tech. Formation widening. Razor 21 confirms from the sky. They're pulling back. No weapons visible. The captain exhales slowly. Copy. Maintain surveillance until they're clear of 10 miles. On deck, sailors ease fingers off triggers, but stay at their stations. The Sea Whiz barrels stop their slow spin, resting in the Sunday. The only thing moving now is the sea, endless, calm, indifferent. Inside CIC, the captain speaks quietly, almost to himself. They came close enough to touch, and that's close enough to learn. The crew doesn't answer. They don't need to. Every console is already logging the retreat. At 0527 a.m., the confrontation is over. No rounds fired, no collisions, just a silent exchange of intent and restraint carved across the Caribbean waves. At 0534 hours, the horizon glows orange as the Venezuelan patrol craft begin to peel away. No radio farewell, no acknowledgement, just the echo of diesel engines fading into the swell. The USS Gravely maintains course and speed her wake, slicing straight through the line where tension had just broken. In the Combat Information Center, sailors stare at their screens, watching the contacts drift west until the radar pings fade into noise. The tactical action officer exhales. Last contact lost. Range now 12 nautical miles and opening. Copy, says the captain. Secure from condition 3. Maintain surface watch and log everything. The room doesn't relax so much as exhale in unison. Headsets come off. Coffee cups return to hands. Someone mutters, "That was close enough for a lifetime." But the captain doesn't smile. He knows the real work starts now. Every second of that encounter, radar data, electronic emissions, radio exchanges, even the temperature of the gun barrels will be packaged into a classified report before sunrise and transmitted to U.S. Southern Command. From there, analysts in Miami and Washington will dissect it frame by frame. Was this a deliberate provocation, a test of U.S. reaction time, or a message from Caracas disguised as maritime patrol? No one aboard Gravely has the answer yet, but they all know one thing. Venezuela crossed a line today, even if it was only a line made of water. Up above the Seahawk Razor, 21 circles wide for one last pass. Its FLIR camera captures the Venezuelan formation retreating east, small wakes, curling in parallel trails. No damage, no pursuit, just distance. Razor 21 to Gravely, targets moving off, request RTB. Approved 21, recover to deck. The helicopter swings toward the destroyer, rotors flashing in sunlight. Below, sailors line the deck ready with landing wands. At 0541, the Seahawk touches down, engines spooling down to a low growl. The smell of salt and jet exhaust hangs thick in the air. Inside the CIC, the final entry goes into the log. Incident concluded without escalation. Venezuelan vessels disengaged at 0534. All systems nominal, but no one calls it over. Not really. 0800 hours. The Caribbean sun climbs high, turning the sea into polished glass. On the bridge, the captain briefs his department heads. The chart table glows with red grease pencil. marks the exact paths of all vessels overlaid with timestamps to the second. These encounters aren't random, he says. They're patterns, pressure, proximity, persistence, controlled friction. He looks each officer in the eye. Our job is to hold the line without crossing it. That's what deterrence looks like in the gray zone. Outside, the world looks calm, but every sailor aboard feels the hum beneath the deck. Turbines, electronics, the pulse of readiness that never really stops. They know this wasn't just about 3 patrol boats. It was about perception, politics, and precedent. Across the Caribbean, headlines will soon tell competing stories. In Caracas, state media will boast that the Bolivarian Navy monitored and challenged a U.S. warship near national waters. In Washington, the Pentagon will issue a short statement. USS Gravely conducted routine maritime security operations in accordance with international law. 2 narratives, 1 ocean. For the sailors who lived it, the truth is simpler. Nobody blinked, and that's why no one died. But every close pass tightens the coil. Each harmless shadowing mission tests the edge between peace and provocation. Someday, one side might misread a radar spike or mishear a command, and what happened at dawn today could turn catastrophic in under 10 seconds. That's the paradox of deterrence. You show strength by not using it. As the day wears on, Gravely cuts south toward open water, her Spy 1D radar sweeping silently across the horizon. The crew settles back into rhythm maintenance rounds, coffee in the wardroom radio, chatter drifting over calm seas. But the ship's log tells a different story, a quiet victory of discipline over danger. Before sundown, the final after-action report is transmitted, encrypted, stamped, and filed under Controlled Friction Incident Caribbean Sector. In Washington, analysts will call it a non-event. But for the men and women aboard the destroyer, it was something else, proof that professionalism still matters when politics turns reckless. The last line of the day belongs to the captain. Standing by the bridge window watching the endless blue, he murmurs to his XO. They thought they could push us off the map. Instead, they found out where the map ends. He turns back to the horizon, expression unreadable. The Caribbean looks peaceful again, but peace out here is just another phase between storms. If you were in command of the Gravely that morning, what would you have done? Would you have held your fire or shown force? Drop your answer in the comments. Your perspective shapes how these encounters are understood. You'll get loyalty badges, priority replies, and help us bring more true maritime stories to the surface. Fair winds, sailors, and remember, sometimes the loudest victory is silence.